Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sorry. I want to begin by recognising the speech from the member for Nightcliff. People in this chamber know that I'm Jewish. I have a very strong connection with the part of the world that is now known as Israel and as Palestine. And my heart also breaks for all the people who are being and have been killed and the genocide that's happening in that place. I also want to acknowledge that today is National Closing the Gap Day. We know this is a day that's meant to give us an opportunity to reflect on our commitment to improving outcomes for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And it's a day when this Parliament's passed 2 laws that will impact disproportionately on Aboriginal people in our community. We've heard that in the Northern Territory we're moving backwards. Last night in this chamber, the government recommitted to the Aboriginal Justice Agreement, which we welcomed. The member for Morka, you would have seen, was very happy to see that. But on a day like today, I do ask questions about how we're honouring that commitment. But actually what I wanted to talk about today was how one of the ways my community responded to a very heartbreaking event in the last fortnight, an alleged domestic violence murder in the suburb of Allawa. I've talked about this briefly in the chamber before, but this tragedy occurred in a house surrounded by other houses full of people who've been raising concerns about the safety of its residents for years, concerns that they voiced to police, housing services and support agencies. And many of these people contacted me and they had pages of records detailing their attempts to get help, and they told me over and over again that there were countless missed opportunities to intervene and prevent this tragedy and no one acted. People were very clear with me that they're not blaming frontline workers, they're not blaming police, they're not blaming housing workers. They know how hard it is and how much pressure they're under, but they said to me, what are you doing about this? What is the government doing about it? People also shared with me that they don't feel safe or connected in their community. So I asked them what they needed. Imogen, a young woman who grew up in Darwin, Mike, who moved here 6 months ago, Dev, who's been here for 10 years, and Marcus, a Larrakia man whose family's lived here for generations, they all said the same thing. They wanted to be connected with other people in their community. So together we organised a community picnic, which was a beautiful event filled with kids, dogs, cake and connection. People met neighbours they'd lived near for years but had never met before. One resident shared his project, which is an Allawa tool library, where the community can share tools. Did you know the average chainsaw is only used for about 2 hours altogether by the person who bought it? Another resident bought a smash cake, and if you know what that is, you know what it is. The kids took it very literally though. And a very big thanks to Zoe, who came along from the Territory Community Safety and talked a lot about what that group can do from within the police, but to support safety and connecting across the kinds of safety service gaps that people were experiencing. The thing that was very heartening about this was it was driven by community. People were unhappy, and we talked together about what we could do to try and address that and help build a sense of community and connection and safety. And driven by community, and we were able to support it a bit from our office. People came together and did that. And there are so many examples of building connection in Johnston. I've talked about some of them in this house before, and I look forward to sharing more of them in the future. I love my community. I feel so lucky to be representing them and working for them. I must be honest though, sometimes when I'm in this chamber, when ministers speak of abandoning compassion and others in the House cheer them on, when I sit through hour after hour of the CLP and Labor attacking one another, when I witness the lack of respect that people are treated with, I sometimes find it really hard to love this job. But when I go back to my community and every day there are amazing, inspiring stories and connection and strength, I remember why I'm doing it. I know everyone in this chamber loves our communities, and I know everyone feels honoured to serve them. My hope is that we can carry the spirit of compassion, resilience and unity that I see every day in my community into this chamber and into every decision we make here. Thank you.